Can anybody see me? Can anybody hear me out there? Oh, boy, what a day. What do I see here? What a cool day. We're going to just jump right into it because it's been a really cool day, and I'm excited to talk about some stuff and show you some stuff that some of you are aware of and some of you are not, especially as what I show you gets going, then more will know what's going on. Does that make sense? Welcome back. So yeah, we've been really busy. Here you can see the guys have been hitting it hard, working hard on a lot of things. So some cool stuff happened today. I wanted to share that with you. I'm not going to reveal too much because we are still in beta, but I got, as many of you know, we have been working on some automation stuff to try to make, well, originally it was just to make my life easier. But we obviously want to make a lot of folks' lives easier, so we're going to try to do that by expanding this and making it a software solution for a lot of folks to use. And so, as many of you know, I had this podcast that I started back in October of 2018. Yeah, 2018. So, coming up on a year anniversary for doing this podcast, and it was on golf, which I don't know. I love golf. Don't get me wrong. I love it, but I didn't really have any business built around golf, but I wanted to practice publishing because I don't come from it just seems it's not comfortable. You know, going online and doing lives and all that stuff is just not comfortable. So I decided that the easiest way to sort of bridge that was to start a podcast, right? And then make it go. I don't have to be pretty on a podcast. I can just kind of go. So that's what I decided to do. And I launched it and it started to go and it was just like, crickets. Like it didn't feel like anybody was listening. It didn't really look like my numbers were growing. It was like super frustrating. And so I started to do some research. I've got a background in SEO and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start doing some stuff to leverage what I know and try to get this message out there a little bit more because, yeah, it is on golf, but what I was sharing was pretty cool stuff just because of my relationship with a guy named Fred Shoemaker, who's just a total golf guru and awesome. So I wanted to get his message out there because he's not going to ever go online, ever. And so it was stuff that I'd learned over the course of being in his mastery program for 12 years. And so I figured, hey, I'll share it and get it out there and I will be able to practice publishing with the podcast. So I started to use the SEO tactics that I know and got it out there to where I wasn't so embarrassed. Like if you went and did a Google search for data access golf, it looks like I've gotten myself around. So even after when I just was starting with 10 or 12 episodes, it still looked okay other than I had only 10 or 12 episodes. And that was always kind of embarrassing. Like, if you try to get somebody on and interview them after 12 episodes, probably not going to work out well for you. And I knew that. So I continued to work. But it was I started to get to a point where the only way I would really get people to listen to my podcast is if I started going out on all the social media platforms and started tweeting or posting, and then that was okay. But then when I started using graphics and snippets and videograms and all this kind of stuff, then I could start to get things going. And I saw my Instagram page start to grow. And so I'm like, okay, so it's a lot of work, but if I really want this thing to grow, then I'm going to have to get out there on social media. So then every time I would publish a podcast or I'd upload a podcast, I would then spend that evening creating a variety of different sized graphics to get it out. And it was horrible. I mean, I'm not a graphics guy. I'm not talented like my wife and my son. And so I kind of got some real basic graphics up and going and just started just started to use the graphics as try to be attention getters and stop people so they kind of see the message and then maybe they'd come check it out. And man, do I look sick? Here, let me see here. Oh, is that better? A little yellow light instead of the white light. Yeah, you can give me a little color. Nice. Okay, so isn't that cool? I can do all kinds of stuff here. Oh, ghastly white. Yeah, I think the color's better. So it's kind of like a yellow light. Anyhow, so I hated it. It got to the point where it's sort of like this weird place where it's like, okay, I don't mind doing the podcast because I could zip it out and get it going, but I hated the aftermath of the podcast. Like after you publish, then the work began. That sucked. I was so tired of it. And so I started to work on this new, hey, our good friend Michael Jensen has joined us. Thanks, man. Yet not so pale, right? So we'll see how it goes. So Michael Jensen's joined us from Washington. Are you down here now? Can never tell. No moss grows under this guy's feet because he works out every day and stuff, right? And he travels between here and Washington all the time. Very busy, very active on Instagram, he and his children, if you want to check that out. So anyway, so that was my frustration. So I began really hating doing the podcast because I knew if I didn't go out and publish a bunch of stuff, then it wasn't ever going to get noticed and nothing was going to grow. And that's a little frustrating. If you go out and look at some of the information out there, there's like 700,000 active podcasts right now. 700,000 active podcasts. And that just means millions and millions of competing podcasts out there. And then you think about blogs and everything. There's just a lot of noise. And so if you're not doing all you can, nobody's going to know you're there. And so Michael Jensen is in Washington, by the way. So he's in Washington right now. So the post that we see from his Instagram page will be from Washington, which is way prettier than Utah in the winter, I guarantee it. Summer, I don't know, too much rain. So, all right, so back to this thing. So anyway, so this morning, so that's the whole nightmare. I hated it. And so I was trying to come up with different ways to automate it as much as I could. And I've used there's different programs out there and software programs and stuff that always is, now I consider them competitors. So I wanted to show you something that happened today. So this morning I came in and at 10 o'clock this morning, it is always green in Washington, but that means it also has to rain a lot. Okay, so me and the guys have been working really hard. And so this morning, so we've been testing a lot of automations. I've had my cousin here. He's been helping me. We've got 3 different programmers that have been helping us and giving us advice. And so anyway, we came out and we started testing and the testing was going well. But about on September 29th, we started this cool beta to see if our automations would actually work, long term. And so I'm going to let me bring up this. Oh, shoot. Did that bring it up? Let me bring up my MacBook screen. There. Okay. So that brought it up. So this is the email I got that says, okay, Drip for a Brilliant Announcement, which is the name of the live that I did back then, posted on September 24th is complete. And so that means that all the automations that we've built out were finished. So the last step is to send the client an email saying, hey, this one is done. So I got that earlier today, which was super exciting, but I, being who I am, don't trust it. And so I had to go take a look and check it out for myself. And so I've done that. I went through and kind of looked at it all. And I am really excited. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Buddy the couch in real quick. So apparently I've been told by my kids that that's supposed to be like a high five emoji. One of the worst emojis out there. How is that a high five? I don't even get that. What is that? How's that a high five? I don't know but that's supposed to be a high five. And so this is Buddy really excited for me and giving me essentially a high five. Okay, but I don't see how that's a high five. So, high 10, maybe a high 10, raise the roof, maybe? High 10? I don't know what it is. It makes no sense to me. I'm this excited. Yeah, jazz hands. I did use those the other day, the jazz hands. That's a good emoji. I actually like those a lot. So I don't know what that is. But anyway, it's supposed to be high 5 or 10 or whatever. You're supposed to be very excited. So I'm excited. Buddy's excited. And so he, that's how he's going to be for me today. And I'll show you why. So anyway, we had these automations start running. Let me bring up another screen here. And I'll run through just kind of a quick little thing of what happened that I hope is going to be so helpful for everybody down the road. I think it's cool. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the screen up above. I believe that's my Thunderbolt screen. Did that work? Looks like it worked, right? Everybody can see that okay? Okay, so this is what happened, just sort of laid out. And then the programming for this, can I show that a little bit? Boom. Yeah, so these are the steps 1 through 5 that happen on the background when this automation runs, when this software program runs. So I go live here on 9/24, and that causes the software to run out and create 11 different graphics that we then put into why isn't this working? Let me see here. Primary display. I don't know what it should show something else there, right? Can it do a camera? Let's see. How about this camera? Oh, okay. Picture in picture. Nice. Okay. So it looks like I'm not wearing the same shirt, but anyway. So I went live on September 24th, and it was a live that I entitled "A Brilliant Announcement." And then I added from ClickFunnels later, but a brilliant announcement. So I went live here on 9/24, and the automation began running at that time. And so the goal was to run it out and sort of drip out over the course of the next few days to see. We had been running them concurrently, running them all day long to see if it would work. And it was working that way. But now we wanted to run them out and delay them and then have each one of these graphics that were created be posted on a platform in the right size at the exact right time when most people happen to be on that platform. We figured that's going to be max exposure. And so that's what we set it up to do. And so the first morning, so 9:25, I come in and I get my first email. My first email's it's really cool. So my first email's got a spreadsheet of top 25 trending articles using the keywords online entrepreneur. So I've got that so I can access those and kind of look through them, stay on the cutting edge, and maybe have some subject matter for my next live, which is awesome, totally fun. That was one of the things that used to drive me crazy about trying to publish, is having the content available to me without needing to go out and do a bunch of research. So that's taken away. Also attached with that email are essentially 4 graphics. This only happens after you publish. There's 2 graphics with what we call quote cards. So I've gone out and gathered like 1,111 of the most shared quotes, like 1,100 of the most shared quotes, and then 11 from yours truly that I've included in that because, why not? Why shouldn't I promote myself? So I did. So that's part of it as well. And so I have these quotes because we can't, as a service, a third-party service, post for you on Instagram. We all still have to do that. If we could, then we would be able to do that too. So anyway, so I get these graphics and I go out and I post them myself. So this is the Instagram. These are the Instagram graphics here. And I hope, will my mouse show up? I don't even know if it'll show up. But here's Instagram. So on 9:25, I got my topics to think about for my next live, as well as graphics to post for the quote, but also graphics to post into my Instagram story and also in my just regular feed about a new, oh, Dan Wilcox just texted me, about a new, Dan Wilcox's father passed away, by the way, Michael, sad. So, okay, anyway, and then I was able to go out and then post those myself because I had to, and then I also had some other graphics that came with it, and those come every single day. And that's just a way for us to get your brand out there so we can share with folks your brand in a way that's not spammy, that provides some value, and then also gets your brand in front of them. Because it takes say cold traffic, they've got to see you on 4 platforms and they've got to see your brand like 14 times subconsciously before it even starts to register because there's so much noise out there now. So kooky talk, that's craziness. Okay, so 9:25, I posted these myself. Okay, so those are out there, those are in my feed, and those are going. Okay, then on 9:26, this graphic was pulled and posted for me on Facebook. And so you can kind of see we have some text that we're able to pull, we have the link, and it's posted again on Facebook. So I went live on Facebook at 9:24, but now on 9:26, I'm advertising again to go out and check out my live that I did on 9:24. Okay, so just trying to figure out what Facebook has the largest amount of eyeballs. So you want to make sure that you are leveraging Facebook for sure. Okay, then the next day, 9:27, the automation went out, grabbed a new graphic with the right size and posted it. It looks like it's a similar size, but it's slightly different. It went out and posted then on Twitter. Again, we have some little posting here and we have the link. And if you click on this, it takes you back to Facebook where it was originally posted. So totally cool there. 9:28, LinkedIn. So now I've got this, again, a slightly different look. You can tell that up at the top here, if you look at the black, in order for me to kind of keep track of it all, I used a different logo depending on where it was going to be posted. So you can see this is the LinkedIn logo. I mean, this is how rudimentary and simple you have to keep things for me in my brain. So this one's got the Twitter logo. This one's got the Facebook logo. So I kind of know, what is being posted where, and that helps, just helps me keep it clear. So you can see there's the Twitter logo, Twitter, you can see that these are the same graphics. So that was posted on 9/28, 9/28 right here, right? So that's super cool there. And then if we go to the next page, on 9/29 now, we have got this one going to Pinterest, and you can see the little Pinterest logo there. Again, for dummy Aaron. Got to keep it simple, folks, for me. And then you can see the post here that we did on Pinterest. There's the little Pinterest deal. And again, we have the ability to put some little comments, some hashtags. It just depends on the platform. So there's our first Pinterest post. Next day, 9:30, posted on Tumblr, totally different size graphic. And there's the Tumblr post. Here, it's cool because they allow you to post some hashtags, which is fun. So those are built in, and those are then posted for you on Tumblr. And then the next day, the 1st of October, a second post on Facebook with a slightly different look and a different size. So we're leveraging all the different sizes that are allowed on every single platform. And we go ahead and post that. You can see the post here on Facebook. Boom, you've got a little Facebook logo that helps me. And then the final post was on Pinterest. So this is essentially 10 different posts with 10 different graphics posted on 8 different platforms. 8 different platforms. And we've gone twice on Pinterest and twice on Instagram. Actually, we've gone twice on Instagram as well, but we did one in the story and one in the just the feed. But still, so then you've got 10-2, and then because it's obviously 10-2 today, boom, I get the email that it's been complete. Okay, so cool. Wow, so that's working, and that's what we've been working on, and that's what we now need to put into sort of production mode. We've got some bugs that definitely need to be worked out. I want to be able to, for example, this is kind of some of the ideas that I have with this. Let's say that this particular post that I did, this particular live, we find that it has a lot of engagement, right? Where a lot of people are watching it, a lot of people are making comments. We want to make it possible for you to go, hey, you know what? That one seems to be really good. I want to run all the marketing and post everything again. and see if I can get more people to glom on and see it. Because if people see this video, and I know they see this video, or they read this blog post, or they see this email, or they listen to this podcast, I know that it causes really good engagement and my followers go up, or more people come to my site and buy my stuff, or whatever the case may be. So we want to make that super easy as possible. That's one thing that I learned from all of this. We also want to span out the Instagram posts a little bit, posting both in the story and in the feed at the same time. I don't really like that. I like how more like what we did for Facebook, where we spreaded it out a little bit, where we went live a couple days later, advertised, and then 5 days later advertised again. I think that that's a slicker way to do it, and I'll check the numbers on eyeballs and all of that, the statistics behind it, but I think that that's probably a better way to go. But for the most part, it worked out pretty good, so I'm super excited about it. Now, the one lesson that I learned today that I wanted to share is that sometimes we as entrepreneurs really complicate things, and we shouldn't. And let me explain. This microphone right here is hideous, obviously. My office has a bad echo in here. And so I bought this, I used to have a little microphone, then I got this Blue Yeti thing. And then Blue Yeti, it's dynamic, not a directional or something like that. So it picks up a lot of noise. And so if the air turned on or whatever, then I was like, oh, this thing stinks, it's picking up everything. And so then I tried to come up with different ways to mess with it. I found this thing on Amazon to try to stop the echo. And anyway, I got to a point where it was a pretty good sound, I thought. And, oops, it almost fell down. Okay. Where I thought it was a pretty good sound, but then I saw some live and somebody else was talking about how good, these other mics were. And I thought, well, maybe I should try a different mic to have a richer, better sound. And so I started messing with other mics, and it just got to be a disaster. And then I had an audit done on my podcast, and they said, hey, you're using a free podcast service. You should really start paying for it, because then you can get some statistics and you can kind of know where people are coming from. And then if you advertise, you'll be able to do that. Well, the new podcast system it was something that I didn't understand. It was just a whole new system that I was trying to learn in the midst of everything else. And so I inadvertently, while trying to make things better, complicated things dramatically, and my product quality, my production quality went way down. It killed it. It was awful. And then I was doing so much in Audacity After to try to fix the audio. It was ghastly. So here we are. Literally, I think I've wasted 2 months trying to work on getting a better microphone. I had this exact setup 2 months ago, and it was fine. I had a free version I've been using anchor.fm for my podcast. It's free. It's fine. Right? It distributes. It's fine. And I tried to complicate things and try to go too crazy, and it's not worth it. So stay focused on the task at hand. And when you find something that's working and it's providing a pretty good quality, and you're in the midst of some really heavy entrepreneurial stuff, like trying to build a whole software system, don't complicate your life. Like ceteris paribus, leave it alone. All things being equal, keep your attention where it needs to be, where it could be revenue producing, where most of your passion is, and save the energy and the trouble to be focused there. And then once you get that finished, if you want to dive in and figure out for a better microphone or figure out a better platform for your podcast or whatever, do it then. Don't keep heaping stuff on. You would think at my age I would have figured this out by now, but you just it's shiny object syndrome is what we call it. And you just start thinking, well, if I did a little bit better or did this a little bit better or worked on that a little bit better. And it's just what we do as entrepreneurs. We're always trying to improve things, but we've got to make sure that we reserve our creative juices and all of our mental capacity towards the thing that is most important. And there's always breaks in projects. There's always different things that are going on. When that happens, that's the time when we can look around and say, hey, what can I improve really quickly that I've wanted to? And I'm a big believer in saying, you know what? If I really feel like my sound isn't very good and I should be working and getting a new mic someday, then I need to go, is there anything more important than worrying about a mic right now? Is it good enough for right now? And if it's yes, then I need to write that down so I can think about that once I've wrapped up some projects and have some time to do it. And I have not organizationally been following that, and it caused me some real pain today. Well, for the last couple months, it's caused me some real pain, and it's made me very ineffective and inefficient, and I hate that. So don't do it to yourselves. Learn from El Stupido over here, and do not do that. Stay focused on what you're passionate about and what you're creating, and get it over the finish line where it's producing revenue and you have some breathing room. Then worry about the little things and wrap it all up after that. So that's some advice for you from a long-time, older entrepreneur. There you go, who still is making these grotesque, ridiculous mistakes. So don't do that. Okay, thanks for joining me today. I hope to have this. There'll be more announcements coming. I'm only sharing it here. I'm not sharing it out and about. We're only going to share it here when we go live, when we do different we'll have a special deal for the Little Black Couch folks, that's for sure. So until then, or until next time, Aaron Stewart from the Little Black Couch saying thank you for being an entrepreneur. Thank you for solving problems that nobody else dares solve. Thank you for taking the time and putting your neck out and taking on risk to make the world a better place. If nobody else does, I super appreciate everything that you're doing out there. And as one entrepreneur to the next, be good and do well.